Oh, right. You guys asked for this one, and I want to provide all of my wonderful mods to you. I think this can really overall improve your gameplay. And at the end of this, I'll show you some things that you don't even need to mod for. So first of all, if you want to get mods, you just go to Browse Mod, and then you type in whatever you want, like small trees or however, and then you just subscribe to that particular one. Subscribe, and then it will go into your installed mods list. Once you have them, you can click them on, you can click them off. Some are unlocked from events. Most of them I don't even use, but one that I always use and is at the top of my priority list that I always check for updates on is Minimap TC Orbit. This is so useful when villager fighting, when going to lame, when TC dropping. You don't even want to know how many scouts this mod has saved. It's like borderline cheating, if I'm being honest, but as long as it's a mod and it's available to everybody, I'm going to be using it. As soon as they say nah, then I'm not going to use it anymore. New Palisade walls from NHK is an absolute must in my opinion. I don't like the flags on there, but you can have them with small flags, medium flags, and large flags. This will indicate, for example, if your opponent is small walling their berries and you wall around there, which one are theirs and which ones are yours. Sometimes you can get a sneaky delete in to get to their villagers, and they don't realize because they don't have this mod on yet. The Wololo sound for monks. I just personally really enjoy this, to be honest with you. I think the idle villager pointer is another must have. It just clearly shows, hey, these dudes aren't doing anything and they should probably be fighting other villagers. I guess they could also be collecting resources and all that good stuff.
Nation material.
Wow, Struggy, thank you for the sub. Much appreciated. You can see a lot of these are just events that I just don't care to use. I think small trees is a great one, but there is a better one in my personal opinion, which is identical pine trees. I just really like the identical pine trees. It works great for me. It has shadow coloration to indicate how much of the pine tree is still available. The grid mod actually can now be just done on your game itself. I'll show you that at the end of this video. There is also, where is it over here? Oh, that's not the one I thought it was. If you want range mods, there's also ranges in the game. There's also Age of Mandala that I don't use. I just personally don't care for it too much. DauT Castle, absolute must. Hilarious when your castle gets denied or when you deny your opponent's castle. You have to have fun with the game after all, don't you? My doggo is wanting some attention over here. Come here, doggo. I love you. No More Plants, I think, is great. It has actually lost me plants before, has lost me games before because of plants. I was like, oh, that's fully walled off. I can definitely, trap him into his base. And then all of a sudden he's walking out of my box-in area. And I realized that there were plants. This was also back when I had big trees. So take this with a grain of salt. Maybe this is not an issue for you at all. Some people prefer smooth terrain. I do not know what mod that is. I don't use it, but I know it's out there. I think it's too much aesthetically for myself, but some people like that, and it's kind of cool to see that every once in a while. It's kind of like how Ruben Stock likes Age of Cubes, where all resources except for the herdables are cubes. I like monster boars as well. This is a personal preference. Makes giant piggies is great in arena, and it's hilarious when you actually get pig spawn in Arabia or any other map for that matter, because they are giant. Can be a little bit of a nuisance every once in a while. I've never had the Gordon Ramsay taunt work. Really want that to work at some point. Building foundation, super useful to see what your opponent is building at a glance. Don't have to click, don't have to nothing. You just know, oh, that is a stable. Oh, that's an archery range. Oh, that's a siege workshop. Very clearly and nicely indicated. Short wall mod is another must for me. Wanting to be able. Can't speak English. Looking over the walls, nice. Fish borders, there's a better fish border one. Let me see. There we go. Even more clear, but yeah, it's fish. I don't really use fish all that much. Sometimes one of them will interact with the other one wrongly, so you might actually want to put the priority down on this, and that way the first one that shows up and interacts with the fish will actually interact with the fish better. That's why TC Orbit is at the very, very top, because it's a must. These things are always updating and so on. Slightly bigger relics with a nice little eye catcher over there. Bigger huntables, I personally prefer. I think they're super tiny when you see them on the map. Maybe I just have bad eyesight. I like the custom color pack as well, but it's kind of up to you whether or not you like that. These are more visual things that are not going to have a huge impact on the game necessarily. Although, talking about that, this is also a visual one, but it's improved in my opinion. It's a big red label that appears when you have idols. I have too many idols, if you couldn't already tell. And it more clearly states how many are on each resource with slightly larger yellow numbers. Obviously, the names are all on the board. I'm not going to name them all. Fish Thing, main menu, and there's the other one that we just put all the way down. So what does this actually look like if I go to a single player skirmish? Well, let's take a quick look. And I also have some other things on that are in the game itself. Like, personally, I hate this view. I don't like this. I think this is way too much. You can see on the mini map that we actually have that TC Orbit mod on. My huntables are a little bit bigger. A little bit sad that we didn't get the piggies over here, but hey, it is what it is. If you've not noticed, you can see the big exclamation marks there as well. Very nice. And it's just so clear. Like, oh, you have 2 idle villagers. Oh, I didn't even realize that I had this guy. Oh, okay. Well, now we know. What am I talking about here when I say that there's some things in the game that you can do? Well, the grid you can actually do in the game. So if you go to options and you go to, let me see, grid display, you can have it always on. I put it on transparent, interestingly enough. That way it doesn't bother me at all. So it will look something like this. I like this. Personally, I like this, and I like doing things by feel. I also don't like the range indicator mod. The reason I don't like that is because when there's 7 or 8 towers going on, it's just like, what is even going on here? So what I do for that is, let me see here, I believe it's graphics, and I go show when selected. I want to know how far it is, but I only want to know how far it is when I select it, if that makes sense. Okay, so my scout's running around, and let's just show you that this is indeed accurate, at least on Arabia. It's going to be a little bit different on 2v2s and yada yada yada, but it gives you a very good indication and a base of where your enemy's TC is exactly on the circle, isn't it? Absolutely must have, in my opinion, if you're rocking this. Here are the trees. Oh, look, solid building foundations and yada yada yada. Okay, cool. And this is the lumber camp, and you can have a lot of fun with this if you so diggity dang choose. You can also have the health bars always on. I personally don't like that. Let me just show you where you can do that as well. I believe health bars over here, you can have them at always on. You can have them at different color displayed, I believe. Whatever, you're just gonna have to muck around with it. And another question I always get is, how do you zoom out as far as you zoom out? Well, you have to scroll this one all the way to zoom out. At the beginning of the game, you might have to scroll with your mouse wheel to the furthest position. It is so much better than playing at this position. Some monitors may not allow for this, so you do need to have a bigger monitor in order to do this. You can see my resolutions over here. If you have these resolutions or greater, you should be able to do what I am doing on the screen right now, which is zoom out more significantly. And with that, that's all the ways that I have modded my game, and it's, oh, villager to the freaking boar, useful, at least to me. Don't your memes just be dreams, and keep on walking.